Hello and welcome to today's Leadership Satsang. I'm your leadership coach, Yukti. This is International Yoga Week, so it only makes sense that we talk not just about yoga, but also what yoga has to do with leadership. What is it that we can learn from yoga about leadership? I also want to share something very personal with you all today. I have been a practitioner of yoga for many, many years now. And I must tell you that yoga has been underestimated as a physical workout. Whenever we talk about yoga, we think that it's all about just some asanas and maybe some breath work, but it's a lot more than that. Personally, the changes that I see in myself are the changes that cannot be brought in by reading even a spiritual book or watching something or someone say something to you. It's about your own practice of connecting with yourself, and that's what yoga does for us. It builds that connection between your mind, your body, and your soul. And if that connection is not built till now, then whatever else that we build as connections, as relationships are hollow, because ultimately the element, the substance of it is about your own connection with self. And that's the power of yoga. So we're going to go deeper into this. We're going to understand today what are some of the starking similarities between yoga and leadership. And what are the three lessons we need to learn from yoga as a practice to become better leaders? Would that be useful? Give me useful in the comments if you think talking about this could be a good use of your time here. And I'm very, very thankful that you made this time to join in for this satsang session today. Means a lot. Thank you so much for doing that. And now that you're here, it makes sense that you hear 100%. And how we do that is by being in the moment, by chanting Om 5 times. So may I invite you to please sit straight wherever you are. I've kind of created a yoga setup, but unfortunately, it's not that visible in the camera. But I love being on my mat, which is where I am right now. And I also have this very nice, beautiful seat I use for meditation. It's so comforting and it gives you like your own space. I think you should select this one corner of your house where you feel more calming energy. As much as the whole house is ours, there is always this one corner, one aspect of the house which feels different. If you go around scanning your house after this session, you will realize what I'm saying. And if you're able to spot that part of your house, just place a nice seating arrangement over there, which is clean and where you can just sit and be. It doesn't have to be only for the early hours of the day. Early hours is the best time because it sets the tone for the entire day. But it can be any time when your energies are not aligned, when you feel disoriented, just go to that corner, just sit on that seat, and you will see magic happening. The reason why places of worship are so powerful, they immediately shift your energy, is because those places are vibrating with a certain level of energy. Everybody who goes there goes with the intention to be, intention to surrender, intention to pray to something which is bigger than themselves. Those intentions combined create a cumulative effect. Those vibrations make that place high on energy. And we can create those vibrations in our own house as well by just choosing that one corner where you will meditate every time. You sit there and you chant, and you will see how the energy of just that room starts shifting. And then that starts spreading out in the rest of the house. And another reason why you should choose that one corner, which you can call as my meditative space. With that, let's dive into our short meditation right now. We will chant Om 5 times. Take a nice, beautiful breath in and breathe out. And breathe in again. Ensuring your spine is straight, your shoulders are relaxed. Another beautiful breath in. And let's start chanting together.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Are you ready? Step your palms together and gently place them on your face, on your cheeks, on your ears, on your neck. Slowly come back. All right. Tell me if you're here 100% with me. Are you here 100%? Let's have 100% in the chat, please. I would love to know, where are you joining me from this evening? And if you feel your presence in the room right now completely. You know, I must confess, sometimes after chanting, I don't feel like coming back at all. Does that happen to you too? Say me too in the comments, please. If you sometimes feel that, why is it over? Can't I continue? Can't I be in this state for longer? And you should be if you can, honestly. I mean, I have a lot to share with you today, so I had to pull myself out of that space. But when I can let myself be, I do. Right. So if you feel the same, please mention it in the comments. And with that, let me just quickly tell you where I see yoga mirroring the aspects of leadership. Right. So let's start with, there are 3 B's maybe too, just for the ease of remembering what I'm sharing with you. Number 1 is balance. If you try tree pose, for example, in yoga, you will not be able to stay in that pose for even a few seconds if you are distracted. And in the same way, you cannot lead people with a distracted, disoriented mind. So you need to stay balanced. You need to create that balance in not just your mind, also emotions, emotional balance, mental balance. That is what creates a physical balance. So you will realize, if you practice yoga, that days when there's too much going on in your head, you will not be able to do simple asanas also. Because every asana in yoga will compel you to create balance. And that's what you learn from this beautiful practice. The second B is breath work, breath awareness, being aware of when you inhale, when you exhale. If you can't master your breath, how can you master people? How can you master a crisis situation, manage or lead a crisis situation? How can you perform under pressure if you're not in control of your own breath? You will see that whenever there is any crisis or any, um, upheaval, emotional upheaval, the way you breathe changes. It completely shifts. In fact, once you bring in this breath awareness, you will realize how possible it is to be a little more proactive than reactive about your own behavior, because you will start noticing this shift in breath, and it will tell you whether you're feeling all right or you're not, whether you're in a state of anxiety or almost there. When you start realizing these things about yourself is when you know that your awareness is much higher. And with that awareness, we can take the right action. Unfortunately, a lot of us are living our life with almost no sense of awareness. And that's why we think that life is just happening to us. Like चीजें बस हो रही हैं अपने आप, कुछ ना कुछ हर रोज हो रहा है. क्यों हो रहा है समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, क्या हो रहा है समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, बस हो रहा है. Right? That's how it feels. But honestly, if you were to just step back and watch this entire show called life, you will realize that you have a lot more control on it than you imagine. And that control starts with first bringing in that sense of control on your breathing, slowing down your breath. Start with counting the number of times you breathe in a minute and see if you can bring that number down. If you breathe 14 times in a minute, which is an average number of breaths we take in a minute, bring it to 12, bring it to 10. See if you can come as close to one,
inhale and exhale in a minute. What a lovely exercise. And this in itself is meditation, by the way. It's not just about sitting and listening to some instruction or sitting in silence and struggling to clear your mind from all the thoughts that are always there inside. It's about getting absorbed in something. It's about losing the sense of time and space. That's meditation. And you can experience that even in this simple breath work, this simple practice of being aware of your breath. And the third is your ability to be in the now. Being in the now means being an observer of what is happening around you, what is happening to you. You see, if you are not in the here and now, when you practice yoga, you will not be able to do the asanas. You will not be able to create that stability. You will not be able to feel that stretch in that part of your body. So to be able to get the best from this practice, you have no choice but to be in the here and now. And that is exactly the practice we require to bring in our space of leadership, in our space of work, professionally as well. So it's the balance, it's the breath awareness, it's being in the now that creates a starking similarity between yoga as a practice and leadership as a role. Does it make sense? Give me MS in the comments if this makes sense to you. Just give me MS makes sense or just write makes sense. I would love to know if this is making sense, if you're able to see the connection between the two. Now, as you start developing this connection, as you see it with the perspective I'm sharing, it makes sense to now see what are the qualities from yoga that I can learn and bring into my leadership space and cultivate better leadership abilities from what yoga can teach me. The first thing is self-awareness, right? That's Swadhyaya. What is self-awareness? Awareness of your behavior, awareness of your feelings, your emotions from within. How are you feeling inward is the way you will behave outward. Your behavior is a function of your emotions, and emotions arise from thoughts. If you're not aware of what you're thinking, you will have no control over how you're feeling. And those feelings will directly impact the way you behave. And because sometimes we're not able to justify our behavior, what do? Conveniently blame other people or situations for that behavior. The more you're aware of your emotions, of the thoughts behind your emotions, easier it gets to take complete responsibility of whatever is happening to you in your life. Only after that do you see the whole sense behind these statements. Life is not happening to you, life is happening for you. ये सब बोलने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है, लेकिन हम इसको समझ नहीं पाते हैं लाइफ में. Is it true? It is true. Are we able to understand it? I'm not sure. When something wrong is happening, how do I say it's happening for me? It's not happening for me. It's happening to me. That's how I'm feeling. Why? Because I think I'm not in charge. I'm helplessly being a victim of whatever is happening. Why? Because I'm not aware of my thoughts. Hence, I have no control over my behavior. So what we are learning from this practice of yoga is to be more and more aware by being more and more in the moment. And that's when you start taking responsibility of every action that you take. Does this resonate with you? Give me yes in the comments if it resonates with you, if you think self-awareness is something that we can learn as a quality from yoga. And by the way, self-awareness is a skill. And like any other skill, you can learn it. There are different tools available for you to enhance your awareness. Maybe when you start practicing yoga, it will be a great start in that direction. But there are so many other ways in which we can add to the level of awareness that we have about ourselves. The second quality is non-reactivity. Non-reactivity, which is pratyahara plus maybe dharana, pratyahara and dharana, non-reactivity. Yoga doesn't teach you restraint of action. It teaches you how to not impulsively react. And as a true leader, that's exactly what you're expected to do. Respond and not react. So how do you bring that into practice? How do you create that little pause between reaction and response? This is where breath work comes in. So I'm sure you've heard of this practice called as box breathing. Box breathing is what? You breathe in for the count of 4. Hold your breath for the count of 4. Breathe out for the count of 4. And hold your breath again for the same count. And do this for 2 minutes by watch, by the way. When you start doing it by watch, you'll realize 2 minutes is not that quick also. Initially, it will look like a little bit of a stretch, but then eventually you will get used to it. And that's when you will realize that just in 2 minutes, you're able to calm yourself down. Only when you are calm can you take charge of a situation. You cannot deal with a situation while you're still in the situation. You have to be outside of it to make sense of what's happening. Otherwise, what happens? You get sucked into the situation, right? You play one of the characters of the drama that's been created there. If you want to sort this out, you can't be part of that drama. You have to be outside of it. You need to be an observer of what's happening. And that's the non-reactivity, a quality that a practice like yoga can help you with. The third is detachment with purpose, which is also called as karma yoga, where you focus on what you need to do without attaching any conditions, consequences, or results to it. You don't practice yoga thinking I'm going to lose weight or inches. If that's on your mind, maybe yoga is not the right practice. With yoga, you are in the moment and every moment feels complete while you're at it. Losing weight could be a byproduct. Losing inches could be a byproduct. But that is not what you're signing up for. So yoga is without any attachment with results. And if you can lead in the same manner, you have no idea what kind of change or transformation you'll be able to create in the space around you. Why? Because you're not making this about results anymore. You're not making this about you anymore. You're not making this about proving anymore. There is purpose that has replaced the proving. And that's why I'm calling it as detachment with purpose. There is detachment from the results, but with the purpose to achieve the bigger picture. Are you getting the drift here? And by the way, I must share with you, a lot of people believe that all these attempts to be a better person sometimes makes people treat us badly. They could probably treat us as a doormat because I'm just being too good for the environment that I'm a part of. Does that thought cross your mind? Yeah, say it does in the comments, please. I mean, very, very practical. And I think somewhere I'm reading your mind here saying that all these things are very nice, but you know what? I don't want to be a saint, become a saint. Everybody else, all the monsters, they want to just eat meat raw. And I can't allow that. So I have to be on, and I need to create this facade in front of self. That's where I kind of feel really deeply sad to see the state in which we have chosen to live. As if we're in a jungle under attack at all times. As if I sleep for a bit, I will be eaten raw. Somebody will come and attack me from somewhere and kill me. You know what? It's not as scary as we believe. It's not as scary to be authentic. It's not about being a saint. It's about being a human. It's about being a human when we say that focus on what you can do. Because you know what? Whether you focus on results or not, you have no control over it. Then why sweat on that? Why sweat over something that you have no control on? Can you control results? No. Can you ensure you will get 98% after you study the entire year? No. What you have control on is how many hours in a day will you study? What you have no control over is what percentage will you get when you write your exam? Because a lot of conditions are attached to that, right? So many external factors. Maybe internal factors too. How do you feel on that particular day? You never know. You might know everything, but just that particular day, you could be disoriented for whatever reason. And there it goes. The result is a function of that one day and how you performed on that day. Are you getting the drift here? So as much as people could vouch for results, saying result-oriented leadership, I think it makes little or no sense because you have no control. You only can control actions. So the faster you detach from results, the more you will focus on action. And that is what you will learn in yoga as a practice every single day. Every single day, it's about taking that one action, doing that one practice. So here's what I want to leave you with. I would request you to not look at yoga as a workout. Yoga is a work in, which will help you to connect with yourself, the only connection that matters. I hope you found this to be useful and you're taking away something that you would be willing to bring into action in your own life. Once again, wishing you a very happy International Yoga Day. Please take very good care of yourself in terms of your health, in terms of your mind and emotions, because every bit of you matters and every bit of you comes together to create this magic of life. Thank you. God bless you all. I will see you next week with another important insight in the space of leadership and spirituality.